All right, friends. So, as you can see, the title of the video, this is going to be a little bit of a weird one. I'm going to get into my thoughts quick, and the title might be you might find the title interesting after hearing my thoughts. So, I'm going to make this quick. It's late. I have to travel tomorrow. So, the person that you're looking at on your screen is a man named Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan Mulvaney was worked on Broadway for a number of years. I forget Book of Mormon. I believe he was in the Book of Mormon. Was a tremendous singer. It had a good career on Broadway. Over the pandemic, Dylan Mulvaney decided to transition to become what he calls a girl, and started making these, vlog type whatever things, saying, day one as a girl, day two as a girl. Now these things are extremely demeaning to a lot of people find them demeaning. A lot of people, I guess, find them empowering, but a lot of people find them demeaning. Now, the reason why Dylan Mulvaney is in the news and the reason why this should matter to you is because Dylan Mulvaney, as you can see here, just was hanging out with President Biden. Okay. So the reason why I find this important is because it's a good indicator of where we are at as a country today. We're talking about the fall of our republic. And I apologize, it's still a little bit of cold. I'm getting over it now, but my voice was gone for a couple of days. So bear with me. Now, I'm going to go through in this video the problem that people have with the idea of, I'm going to call it trans rights, but it really doesn't have anything to do with trans rights. I'm going to talk about, why you should care and why you shouldn't care. And I'm going to try to be as unbiased as humanly possible in this video. Okay, now what I want to talk about first is why people have a problem with Dylan Mulvaney. Okay, so Dylan Mulvaney, as stated, prior, was a boy up until 200 and something odd days ago. Okay, Dylan Mulvaney decided to transition to become a female. I don't know what exactly Dylan Mulvaney is doing to become a female besides dressing up like a female and wearing a wig or growing out his hair. Okay, that being said, Dylan Mulvaney is making a lot of money off of TikTok and Instagram, places like that, by going on and making what some believe to be a mockery of females. Okay, and these videos, you can go look them up. I'm not going to play any of these videos on here, but these videos are outrageous. They're all weird and ridiculous. And so, just to give you an example, in the first video ever posted by Dylan Mulvaney on this whole girl whatever thing, he's sitting there going, oh, my first day as a female, my first day as a girl. Today I cried 3 times. I yelled at someone in traffic, or whatever. And just, again, tries to take every stereotype of a woman, of, in this case, a white woman, and tries to use those stereotypes to say, this is what being a woman is like. And that's kind of sick to some people, no matter whether or not you agree with the trans agenda as it is or not. It's still, it's weird, and the way that he goes about doing things is bizarre. There's another one where he's frolicking through a field, and saying, oh, I love this, I love that, I'm in love with the grass, I'm in love with the bench, I'm in love with the bridge, I'm in love with the this, I'm in love with the that. And the reason why I bring this up is because, again, it's a caricature of a woman, of, in this case, specifically like a white girl. He's walking around acting like, one of my daughters on meth. Not my daughters are not on meth, they're young kids, but it's like, that's what I pictured as. It's ridiculous, like just saying the most absurd stuff and making a ton of money doing it. Now, what I see here, and I'll go over my issues with it. So first of all, I'll just tell you that the problem that I have with the quote unquote trans agenda is not that there is trans people in the world. That's fine. There's been trans people in the world forever. I'm not going to change that. I don't think that we should aim to change that. People can do what they want to do. And largely, I agree with that. Largely, I think that that's fine. Where I have an issue is when it starts to bleed into everyday life for Americans that want nothing to do with this. And that's where I have a problem with this. Okay, so I have a problem because this is not, in my opinion, this is not a trans person. Okay, and I get that that's my opinion. Okay, and before you say, oh, you're denying this person's reality or whatever, okay, I don't think that you can just throw in a wig. I have more respect for trans people than to think that you can just throw in a wig, all of a sudden, start to wear female clothes and say that you're a girl. I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think that it's right to take what had been classified as a mental illness for a long time and chalk it up to that. I don't think it's fair to trans people. I don't think that it's I think that it's making a mockery of trans people and whatnot. I would not be surprised if one day this Dylan Mulvaney comes out and goes, "Oh, that was all a big joke," because that's the way that he's treating it. There's plenty of trans people out there that are suffering from actual mental illness that commit suicide every single year. And the person that's being spotlighted, to represent this, whatever it is this individual that, walks around with a bulge and says, that he's going to, be proud of it, and he's gonna show his, bulge off, being he's different than other women. Some women have a bulge, he says. And it's just, I mean, this is just a thin man wearing a female's bathing suit. That's all this is right here. And so I think that it is quite a mockery. And that's the problem that I and a lot of people have with it. I mean, beyond that problem, is the fact that, kids are influenced by this, children are influenced by this. And so you take somebody like this that, has this likable personality and, seems not threatening, say, okay, this person's just kind of ridiculous. And now they're sitting down with the president talking about, whether or not they think that the trans agenda should be pushed on kids. And it's not appropriate. It's not appropriate at all. And this is being hoisted on American society. This is why we're seeing the downfall of America. Finally, I think that this person is making a mockery of all marginalized communities. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that there's real victims in this world. There's real victims in this world. If you take, for example, Black America is suffering from significantly higher crime rates now than they have in the past, number of years. They suffer from severe unemployment, suffer from terrible, school numbers, graduation numbers, so on and so forth. There's a lot of marginalized communities. Asian Americans are victims of hate crimes now, seemingly every single day. Jewish Americans are victims of anti-Semitism every single day. And, women are victims. Women's sports are being taken over. Women are being victimized by rapists and by groomers in society. Children are now at this point marginalized by things like, COVID vaccines and things like this being taught in school. And this person, Dylan Mulvaney, is lived a privileged life, is a white male, okay, and decides just to get an edge, just to get, some sort of push on social media, that he's going to start performing in this way. And so this is what I look at it as. I look at it as performance art. But it's a little bit sickening that this person would portray a marginalized person, that this person would try to make money off of a marginalized and mentally ill community. It's unfortunate, it's sad, and I think that should be a perfectly fine view to hold. Again, I am not taking the view that people should not be allowed to do this, that men should not be allowed to do this. I'm taking the view of the fact that I think that this person is extremely disingenuous. And I think this person is, out there to make a buck. That's my personal opinion on Dylan Mulvaney. And I think that there's ways that we can combat this. The largest way to combat it, I hate to say it because I'm being very repetitive, but is you got to vote in these elections coming up. And if you're living in Pennsylvania, where I live, then you got to vote for Dr. Oz for Senate. And even though I don't like the guy at all, vote for Doug Mastriano. Down ballot Republican is how I do this election. There's certain elections where I would not do that, right? So Roy Moore ran back in Alabama several years ago, and he was literally a sex offender, okay? And he was running as a Republican, and he lost because Republicans stood up against him, okay? I even understand not voting for President Trump in his first election. I voted for, Ted Cruz in the primary. I voted for Barack Obama in 2008. And so I do believe that there is some, you should not just vote down ballot, typically, but in this case, we're fighting against a certain agenda in our schools, and this impacts our kids severely. And so I would encourage you to think about, what you're doing. Yeah, right. So this was Dylan Mulvaney before. I mean, it's a, and he was a, how do I put this, an attractive male singer on Broadway. Okay. It's an odd change, but that's exactly where this country is going. So, if you take a look here, you can see these two, clearly these two men, these are just two men. I mean, this guy's got a beard over here. Okay. These are just, just two men, sitting there talking about, a marginalized community. They're probably really rich. Okay. They are on, an Ulta beauty ad. That's the other thing too that you can do is there's other brands out there. There's other brands out there that are available. Okay. If you look here, this person, Dylan Mulvaney, has been trying as hard as they could to get the attention of the public for a long time. Okay. Um, yeah, it's off. It's not appropriate. Okay. Like right here, day 166 of girlhood, not womanhood, girlhood. This is this person is coming after your children. I'm putting that out there right now. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a great night.